I've been doing some research and trying to find out why the Pope has resigned, why the Vatican's always going through this turmoil, why there's all this trouble and crime that they're trying to cover up, and how it might be connected with prophecy and what the Protestants have been saying for hundreds of years. Also tying it in with the Fatima prophecy, which is the apparition, Marian apparitions of the Virgin Mary, in Fatima, Portugal, connected with the Garabandal, subsequent apparitions, sightings. An apparition's always supposed to emanate from the Blessed Mother, Mother Mary, Virgin Mary. So this is a movement to bring the Catholic Church back into line with some of its ancient traditions and the Latin Mass, so on and so forth. So apparently what comes out of it is that the Vatican Council II, which started in the 60s, formally ended at the end of 1965, and was implemented from 66 to 67, which is like over 40 years, going on 50 years now, that these developments were being implemented and making major changes in the church. There are accusations that exposed the true purpose behind these things, which were obviously secret, but when they're unveiled to make the outward changes, public changes in the church, it ties in more with the way the world is run, the triune power that's held between the establishment in Rome, the establishment in London, and the establishment in Washington, D.C. So really it's got to tie in with everything that people are finding out, the criminal conspiracy that's being operated out of Washington. So everybody knows by now that Washington, D.C. has been taken over by an illegitimate regime. That's very clear. And the Federal Reserve's tied in with it because it's all the banksters. Now, we know that it comes from London, which is an older power, which has also been taken over from within by a bunch of, Rothschilds and so on and so forth. And the Black Pope, Jesuits, and the Illuminati throughout Europe, as well as the Rothschilds, are involved with the Roman taking over. So these are not spiritual powers, these are secular powers, just of money and basically of an unholy alliance between these greedy, insane people that are trying to run the world, which they already do, but they want to put everybody under their dominion. So it's not really going to work out. So basically it comes down to that, folks. That's my research, and the reason why you should be looking at the next pope that comes in as being even worse than the previous one. I don't know if you could interpret it from the St. Malachi prophecy as saying that Petrus Romanus is actually going to be the Pope, or whether Petrus Romanus is a beneficial figure who comes in to feed the flock, to shelter the flock during these times of trouble. So it could mean that whoever comes in next is just going to be the Antichrist, and on the sidelines Petrus Romanus is trying to do the good thing. So we'll have to see how this interpretation happens, because usually it's just interpreted as being all wrapped up in Petrus Romanus being a term that refers to the next person in there as being completely evil. So there's just a lot of complex information here. It's if, and, or but. You know, I just think there's a lot of reason that there's a falling away, because they're not heeding the warnings. Prophecy has a lot to do with a warning. It's just warning the church, it's warning authorities, it's warning the people to take some action, you know, to come out of the unholiness, the evil that's infiltrated. Just come out of it and be independent of it, because Christ is not in that. The godliness, the God Spirit, the living Spirit is not in there anymore. It's just taking it over. So, you know, it seems pretty simple when you say it like this, but there's a lot of conflicting factions or conflicting interpretation about this. So I'd like to hear from anybody, atheists, devout Catholics, spiritual people, whoever wants to say anything about it, and we'll get to the bottom of this. We'll get to the truth. Thanks for listening.